Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and just do the first one together. We are going to analyze new ideas. This is a review from fourth grade. So the first thing we want to start off with is talking about what a variable is, because we're going to be talking about variables throughout this whole activity. So right here on your sheet, you do have a blank space. So we are just going to talk about that a variable is a letter, and it's standing in for an unknown value in an equation. So that means that a lot of the times you can choose your own letter, but it's the unknown. So sometimes you would have seen it as a question mark, or you might have seen it as an open box, but we're going to use a letter now for something that we don't know. So a variable is just a letter standing in for an unknown value in an equation. And the cool thing about today's lesson is that we will be able to choose our own variables. So I am going to go ahead and read the first word problem, and you're going to do this one with me. So in the zoo, the elephants eat 180 pounds of food every day. How many pounds of food do the elephants eat in 7 days? So some of you could probably look at this and solve it, but we want to go ahead and break it down, and we want to make a strip diagram to model this, because sometimes we do get confused on what we're supposed to do, if we're supposed to add, if we're supposed to subtract, multiply, or divide. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a rectangle. And I know that in this, we have 7 days. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to click my pen so that I can take my rectangle and I can divide this into 7 days. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I'm using a mouse on mine, so it's not very even, but we would have 7 days of food. So now we know that in one day we eat 180 pounds of food. So that would mean that I can go ahead and put in 180 in each of these. Now, excuse me as I'm using a mouse on this. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to put 180 in every single one of my days, because the elephants have to eat every day. And we know that every day that they eat 180 pounds of food. All right, so we've got 2 more to go. I'm sorry that if you cannot read this very well, but I'm doing the best I can with my mouse. All right, so we have 7 days, and each of those days we eat 180 pounds of food. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So our unknown here is this whole thing right here. Okay, that's our pounds of food that we are trying to figure out. So like we set up here, a variable is a letter standing for an unknown. So since I'm talking about food, I am going to use the variable f. So right here, I'm going to put an f, and that's going to be the amount of food total. And right here, it says variable. Since I chose f, I'm going to put that right there. Now in your operation, we have to look at this. Well, yes, I could go ahead and I could add 180 plus 180 plus 180, 180 plus 180, and so on. Or I can decide that repeated addition is just multiplying. So I'm going to circle my multiply. And then right here, I'm going to actually write my equation. So I know that I have 180 pounds of food. We identified right here that we're multiplying. So I'm going to put my multiplication symbol inside of my circle. And then we have 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 7 here. And then my unknown, I'm not going to solve this yet because I just want to write my equation. My unknown is the variable f. So I'm going to put that right there. And here's my equation. I've taken my strip diagram, drawn it out, modeled it, figured out my operation, chose my variable, and I've written my equation. Now, that is what we want to focus on and the remainder of these. So you have a couple more to do underneath this. But when you finish, or if you finish the word problems, the underneath of them, the ones that we have not done, then you can come over here and you can solve for your equation than the model that we just did. So you could go ahead and you can solve this. But remember, that's not what we're focused on today. We want to do everything else first and then come up to the solve if we have time. So we have 180 times 7. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 8 is 52. 56. And then 7 times 1 is 7. Plus the 5 is 12. So 70. Okay. So that means in those 7 days, the elephants would have eaten 1,260 pounds of food. So so what we're gonna do is we want to go ahead and work on, like I said, we want to focus on the model, the operation, the variable, and the equation. If you finish that on the next 3, then at the end of completing those 3 columns, then we want to come over here and solve. Don't do the work and then solve it, just if you have time. We really want to focus on those strip diagrams, what operation, choosing that variable, and writing our equation with the variable. All right, guys, enjoy.